Welcome to Lento English. Ready to level up your English? Here we learn through stories, slow, clear, and fun. Listen, relax, and enjoy the journey.
One introduction. A former leader of France, Nicolas Sarkozy, went to prison. This happened on a Tuesday. He began a 5-year prison sentence. This was a new event for modern France. It was the first time a former president spent time in prison. Mr. Sarkozy left his house that morning. He waved to people who supported him. His car then drove to the prison in Paris. Many police motorbikes and other vehicles were around his car. They went to La Santé prison, located in the south of Paris. The court had given Mr. Sarkozy a sentence of 5 years in jail. This decision was made the month before. The reason was for criminal conspiracy. This means he was part of a secret plan. This plan was about money for his presidential campaign in 2007. The money came from Libya. In return, there were promises of special favors. Mr. Sarkozy was president from 2007 to 2012. He has said he is not guilty and has asked a higher court to look at his case again. This is called an appeal. While he waits for the appeal, he will stay in prison. He might be in a special cell alone, or he might be in a special part of La Santé prison called the VIP wing. This special part of the prison is for people who cannot be with other prisoners. This is often for their safety. Sometimes politicians, former police officers, or members of certain groups stay there. Cells in this part of the prison have a bed, a small desk, and a fridge. They also have a cooking hob, a television, a shower, a toilet, and a sink. There is also a phone to call approved numbers. When Mr. Sarkozy's car started for the prison, he shared a message. He said he was an innocent man. He also said that it was not a former president going to prison, but an innocent man. He expressed deep sadness for France. He felt the country was humiliated by what he called vengeance. He said he would keep speaking against this situation. He also said he was not to be pitied because his family and friends were with him. His lawyers have asked for him to be released from prison early. The court will decide on this request. They have 2 months to make a decision. This situation shows a serious legal event for a former leader of France. It marks a moment when a high-ranking official faced a prison sentence for actions during his time in public life. 2. A famous man. Nicolas Sarkozy was a very famous man in France. Many people knew his name and his face. He was born in Paris in 1955. His family background was mixed. His father was from Hungary and his mother was French. He studied law at university, a common path for future politicians. After finishing his studies, he decided to enter the world of politics. This was in the 1970s, when he was a young man with big plans and a strong desire to make a difference. His first important job in politics was at a local level. He became the mayor of Neuilly-sur-Seine, a rich town near Paris. He took this role in 1983 when he was quite young. He stayed as mayor for many years until 2002. During his time as mayor, he learned a lot about how to lead people and manage a town. People saw him as a dynamic and hard-working person. He was good at speaking to crowds and making people feel excited about his ideas. This period helped him build a strong public image. Later, Nicolas Sarkozy moved into national politics, taking on bigger roles in the government. He worked as a minister in different government departments several times. For example, he was the Minister of Budget, where he managed the country's money. He also served as the Minister of Interior, a very important job in charge of police and national security. In these roles, he showed he was a strong and decisive leader. He often made big changes and was not afraid to speak his mind, which made him popular with some and less popular with others. People saw him as a very skilled and ambitious politician. He had a clear goal to reach the highest office in the country. He worked hard to make his political party stronger. His party was called the UMP, which stood for Union for a Popular Movement. He rose quickly through the ranks of the party. First, he was an active member, then he gained more important positions, and eventually he became the leader of the entire party. This showed his growing power and influence within French politics. He was a popular figure among many voters, who liked his energetic style and his direct way of speaking. He had a clear vision for France's future and was not afraid to challenge old ideas. His journey from a local mayor to the head of a major political party was quite fast. He was known for his high energy and his ability to connect with people. He built a strong base of support across the country. Many people believed he had the leadership skills to make France better. He was now ready for an even bigger step in his career, aiming for the presidency. Everyone knew he was preparing for the top job. He had spent many years building his career and preparing for this moment, becoming a powerful force in French politics. 3. The 2007 election. Nicolas Sarkozy wanted to become the president of France in 2007. He worked very hard for his campaign. He traveled around the country and spoke to many people. Winning the election was his main goal. This time was very important for his political future and for France. In France, there are clear rules about how political campaigns can get and spend money. These rules are put in place to make sure that elections are fair for everyone. Campaigns have limits on how much money they can use. Also, it is very important to know where all the money comes from. For example, large amounts of money from foreign countries are usually not allowed by law. These strict rules help to keep the election process transparent and honest, preventing hidden influences. Later, serious questions came up about the money used for Sarkozy's 2007 campaign. There were accusations that a secret deal had taken place. People said that money for the campaign was received in a hidden way outside of the legal system. This money was not reported as it should have been to the authorities. Such actions, if true, would make the election seem unfair and against the laws designed to protect democracy. The accusations specifically pointed to a country in North Africa, Libya. It was said that Muammar Gaddafi, who was the leader of Libya at that time, gave money for Sarkozy's campaign. This was not official help between governments. Instead, it was believed to be a secret payment made in cash or through other hidden means. In return for this financial support, Sarkozy's government would give special diplomatic favors to Libya. Diplomatic favors mean offering special help or good treatment to another country in international relations. This kind of secret exchange is strictly against French campaign finance laws. Prosecutors, who are government lawyers, started a long and detailed investigation into these claims. They said that Nicolas Sarkozy's campaign did receive money from Libya in a secret and illegal way. They believed this was part of a planned agreement, which they called a criminal conspiracy. This conspiracy aimed to get illegal money to help his presidential campaign in 2007. The prosecutors worked to gather evidence and show in court that this secret deal indeed happened. They argued that this was a serious breach of election rules and a betrayal of public trust. They sought to prove that the funds were used to unfairly influence the election outcome. 4. The money story. The secret plan was about money for the election. This money was not declared, as French law requires. It was hidden from public view. The plan was to get funds from a foreign leader to help Mr. Sarkozy's presidential campaign in 2007. In return for this help, France would later offer special diplomatic favors to that leader's country. This was a secret agreement kept from the public and from election officials. The money was for the campaign, but it was not open and clear, which went against the rules for political funding in France. This undeclared money was a key part of the secret deal. Moving the money was a very difficult and secret job. The people involved did not want anyone to know about it. It was not written down in any official books or records. This made it very hard for anyone to trace its path. Perhaps bags of cash were moved between different places, or maybe the money went through many different bank accounts to hide its true origin and final destination. Many steps were taken to make sure that nobody could easily find out where the money came from or where it went. The goal was to make it seem like normal money, but it was far from it. Later, an investigation began. Police officers and legal teams started to look closely at these stories and rumors. They wanted to find out the truth about the secret funding. This investigation took a very long time, many years in fact. The investigators looked at thousands of documents. They also talked to many people who might have known something about the plan. They used modern methods to follow the money and gather information. No detail was too small for them to examine. During their work, the investigators found different pieces of evidence. They found financial records that showed money moving in unusual ways. They also found notes, emails, and phone records that helped them understand the secret plan. Some people who were involved or who knew about the plan also spoke to the investigators. These people gave their testimonies, telling the court what they had seen and heard. All this evidence helped the investigators build a clear picture of what had happened. Mr. Sarkozy always said that he did nothing wrong. He told everyone that he was innocent of the accusations. He believed that the whole case was a big mistake or unfair. He said that the accusations were false and that he was a victim of unfair actions. He continued to say he was innocent even after the court made its decision. He often spoke publicly, saying that he would continue to fight to prove his innocence and clear his name. 5. In the courtroom, the long legal journey for Nicolas Sarkozy began. After many months of investigations, the case finally came to court. This was a very important moment for France. Many people watched closely as the trial started. It was a serious process that took a long time. Lawyers worked hard and many documents were studied. The court had to decide if rules were broken. In the courtroom, two main sides presented their arguments. First, there was the prosecution. This team of lawyers worked to show that Mr. Sarkozy was guilty. They told the court about a plan to get money illegally. They said this money came from Libya. It was for his presidential campaign in 2007. The prosecution explained that in return for this money, diplomatic favors were promised. They showed evidence they had collected. They wanted the judge to agree that Mr. Sarkozy had done wrong. Then Mr. Sarkozy's defense team spoke. These lawyers worked to prove his innocence. They said that the accusations were not true. They argued that there was no secret plan for illegal money. The defense tried to show that the evidence was not strong enough. They said that Mr. Sarkozy was an innocent man. He himself stated that he had done nothing wrong. The defense asked the court to find him not guilty of the charges. Inside the courtroom, the judge listened carefully to everything. He heard from both the prosecution and the defense. Witnesses came to speak and many papers were presented. The trial had many important moments. Each day, new information was shared. It was a complex case with many details. The judge had to understand all parts of the story. He needed to make a fair decision based on the law and the evidence. This trial was one of several times Mr. Sarkozy faced legal questions during his life after being president. The court process was long and difficult for everyone involved. After a significant period, the arguments finally ended. The judge then had to think about all he had heard. He would soon make a very important decision about the former president. This decision would affect Mr. Sarkozy's future and be a big event for the country. 6. The judge's words. The long legal process finally came to an end. After many months, the judges in the court were ready to give their final decision. Everyone waited to hear what would happen next. On a specific day, the court announced its verdict. Nicolas Sarkozy, the former president, was found guilty. He was guilty of criminal conspiracy. This meant he had planned a secret deal. The court said he had worked to get money for his 2007 presidential election campaign. This money came from the country of Libya. In return for this money, there were promises of special favors. The judges believed this secret plan was real. Because of this, the court gave him a prison sentence. It was a sentence of 5 years. This was a very serious punishment for a former leader. The court said that some of this time would be spent in prison. The judges explained their reasons for this decision. They said that Mr. Sarkozy's actions were very bad. As a president, he had a very important job and a big responsibility. He should have followed all the rules strictly. His actions hurt the trust of the French people in their government. They also said that crimes like this affect the fairness of elections. This kind of behavior was a danger to democracy in France. The court wanted to send a clear message. No one is above the law, not even a former president. The court also made another important decision. Mr. Sarkozy had to go to prison right away. He had the right to appeal the court's decision. This meant he could ask a higher court to look at his case again. But even with an appeal planned, the judges decided he must begin his sentence immediately. This was because the crime was very serious and had a big impact on public trust. The court wanted to show that justice was fast and firm for everyone. It was important for people to see that the law applied to everyone in the same way, no matter their past position. So despite his appeal, the time in prison started without delay. This was a very important day for French law and history, showing a strong message about accountability. 7. A new home. The former president arrived at La Santé prison in Paris on a Tuesday morning. He traveled in a car which was surrounded by many police vehicles and motorbikes. Before leaving his house, he waved to his supporters. The journey ended at the prison complex in southern Paris. This was a significant moment, as it was the first time a former leader of modern France had spent time inside a prison. Inside La Santé, there is a special area known as the VIP wing. This part of the prison is for inmates not suitable for the general population. Often, this is due to safety concerns. People at risk, like politicians, former police officers, or those linked to certain groups, are kept here. This wing ensures their security and separation. Each cell in the VIP wing has several essential items. Prisoners find a metal bed with a mattress. There is also a small desk. A fridge and a cooking hob allow for some personal food preparation. For communication, each cell has a television and a fixed telephone line. This phone allows calls to authorized numbers. The cells also include private facilities, a shower, a toilet, and a sink, providing basic comforts. La Santé prison has housed other notable inmates. Manuel Noriega, once the dictator of Panama, was held there after his extradition from the United States. Ilic Ramirez Sanchez, known as Carlos the Jackal, a Venezuelan terrorist, also spent time in the prison. Jacques Mesrine, a notorious French murderer and bank robber from the 1970s, was another inmate. Mesrine famously escaped from La Santé by disguising himself as a prison guard with another criminal. Former prisoners have shared experiences of life in the VIP wing. One former inmate, Marco Muli, described the prison as all right, comparing it to a popular budget hotel chain. However, another former prisoner, Didier Schuller, pointed out a main issue: noise. He mentioned that loud shouting at night could wake people up. These accounts offer a glimpse into the daily routine and atmosphere for a prisoner in this specific part of La Santé. The former president began his 5-year sentence in this new and unfamiliar environment, a stark contrast to his life before. 8. The lesson continues. In a message sent just before he arrived at the prison, Nicolas Sarkozy spoke clearly. He said that he was an innocent man. He wanted the French people to know this. He stated it was not a former president who was being locked up. He stressed that it was a man who had done nothing wrong. He also said he would keep speaking out against what he called a judicial scandal. He felt that France was being humiliated by this situation. He described it as an act of vengeance and hatred reaching a new level. When he left his home, many police motorbikes and cars were around his vehicle. Still, he waved to his supporters who were there. His words also mentioned his family and friends. He said his wife and children were by his side. He added that he had countless friends. This showed that he still had people who stood with him, even as he faced this difficult time. Sarkozy had already appealed his conviction. This means his lawyers asked a higher court to review the judgment. They believed the first decision was wrong. At the same time, his legal team made another request. They asked for him to be released from prison early. The court now has a specific time to decide on this request. They have up to 2 months to give their answer. Until then, the former president would remain in prison. This event was very significant for France. It was a moment that had never happened before in modern French history. A former leader of the country was now in prison. It showed that even powerful people must follow the law. This situation started many discussions across the country. People talked about justice, power, and what it meant for France's future. For Sarkozy, it brought deep sorrow for his country, seeing it humiliated. The story of Nicolas Sarkozy's journey to prison was a powerful lesson. It highlighted that the legal system in France aimed to treat everyone equally. The appeal process would continue, meaning the final chapter of this legal battle was not yet written. This moment served as a clear reminder that no one is above the law, and that justice, however slow, will always seek its course. It left many people in France thinking about the rules that govern their leaders and their nation.